Moving on to, we provide some platforms for our council members here. And one of them is our president's monthly address. And Mr. Chair, you're doing a good job making that a monthly
Thank you.
update. This is your platform, Mr. President, to let people, the residents, know about the happenings in the city, what's going on in city council, as well as topics of interest to yourself and the city as a whole. On top of that, the council members have a platform as well, which is called 2-Minute Drill. And again, that platform is an opportunity for council members to talk to constituents about events, topics of interest for their respective districts or at the city at large. And this is filmed at the request of the individual council members. We have Councilwoman Christian Willauer. She's talking about the property tax reassessment appeals process. So we're constantly putting these 2-minute drills out as well. And then as far as our community programming, we we have our 22 News platform, which is our news platform to get out in the community and cover events and stories that are of the interest of the city. And in addition to this, our 22 News packages, we have 22 News on the Scene, which is a long-form program which we play in their entirety, press conferences, ceremonies, and on occasion we do stream live on Facebook, YouTube, and our cable channel. We didn't have this particular program under this platform, but we did earlier this year broadcast a press conference for the Office of Education Advocacy, which we did go live on Facebook, YouTube, and our TV channel as well for that. So we do have those capabilities to go live out in the community. And finally, another community program that we do is called Sights and Sounds, and that is used to show a snapshot of certain events, parades, festivals. We just recently were out there for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And again, that's just showing the events of the day in a short form format. I did forget to mention another platform that we do have for council members, and that's called Inside the District. This show, the council members can go within their district and highlight different people, organizations, businesses that are in their community making an impact. And for at-large council members, they can go citywide. This particular one was 2nd District with Councilwoman Sinead Darby. She was highlighting the different programs offered by Sally's. And in addition to that programming, we do special programming and public service announcements. Those are going to be one-off kind of videos that we air that don't really fall under a particular platform, but we're going to be in the coming week going to start airing introduction videos for the council members. Here's a sneak peek at our introducing program with our 1st District Council member Kobe Owens kicking it off. So again, that'll be airing sometime next week. And then we do have partnerships to fill out our channel for television. We do highlight different content from our federal government, our county government, state government. We feature the happenings on Capitol Hill with our Senate delegation called Senator Spotlight. That program, we're literally taking the proceedings and we're focusing on our senators, what they're actually doing on Capitol Hill. So this was a committee meeting that Senator Blunt Rochester was taking part in, and she was making comments there. And again, we do feature content from the state and county whenever that content does come available. So we do special reports featuring that kind of content. This one here was a program, a mini documentary that was produced by the county last year about the Mount Olive Cemetery. And then we also do feature messages from the county exec from time to time, and also, again, state programming. In addition to that, we have partnerships with Christiana Care for our Healthy Wilmington programming. We feature a program that they do called For the Love of Health. And we also partner with the Wilmington Library for their series, their talking series, speaker series over at the library. We do feature those in their entirety, as well as programming from our school districts. We feature from Red Clay, who is also going to be speaking later on, Brandywine School District, and also Colonial School District. We are looking forward to doing more programming with our different departments. We have currently had conversations with the police department, fire department, as well as constituent services, and the mayor's office in doing programming. And in addition to that, I did speak to Director Melanie Phillips from Parks and Rec about rebooting the Parks and Recreation update. So we're looking to do that hopefully in the coming month to get that back up and running. So that's our programming. I do want to touch on our finances. I know as we're dealing with our current financial landscape with the PEG funding, as you know, we are losing subscribers for Comcast, so we have to be very conscious of our spending. Right now, our current FY25 budget is marked for $1,100,071 $823, and working with Marshall, we are currently evaluating some of our service contracts to find cost savings, as well as other areas where we can find savings. And we're looking to decrease our budget by 10% at this current juncture. As we did last year, our vacant producer position is going to remain defunded, unfortunately, as well as we're going to do some research and finding possible grant opportunities. Just because of we utilize PEG funding, we have to try to find ways to look for these grants, because the grant opportunities, because of the PEG funding, are few and far between. But we're going to try to find creative ways to try to find money to bolster our reserves. In addition to that, we do have our agreement with Newcastle County to provide production services for their meetings. Right now, that contract is for $34,500, just providing the basic support to produce their meetings and stream them on their platform. And I just want to highlight our staff finally. We have 5 full-time employees. Again, our one vacant position has been defunded, so we're not looking to add to our current strength. And we do have a active freelancer pool that we utilize to supplement the duties from our staff. We have 9 active freelancers in our pool. And again, they only get paid for when they come in. So even if we add more freelancers, it's not like we're spending more in salary. It's going to be on an as-needed basis. So that's all that I have for my updates. And commissioners, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
All right, thank you. Any questions from any commissioners? Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for your presentation today. I just want to make sure I understand some of the facts that were outlined accurately. Last year, which seems 2024, is the baseline year presented here,
Right.
Seems that your team did 78 meetings for city council specific convenings, 45 committee meetings, 9 blocks of budget hearings, and 24 regular council meetings.
Right.
That's correct.
Yep.
And then there were 114 meetings in 2024 for Newcastle County government in and of itself.
Yes.
So that's 44 meetings more for Newcastle County.
Right.
With respect to that, it seems in terms of our agreement for 44 meetings more, they only pay $34,500 a year. Is that included in this full original budget of $1,171,823?
Yes.
So that number includes the 34.
Yeah.
Okay. You also talk about the 22 message board and programs. You said that you do highlights statewide.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me if that is statewide updates specific to Wilmington, or are they just general statewide?
Oh, they're specific to Wilmington. For the message board, anything that we air on there is for the benefit of the city residents. If it's like a program that's down in like Sussex County, we're not going to add that to our message board.
Is it safe to then say, just looking at quantifiable numbers, for the president's monthly address, you expect to do 12 of those?
Yes.
For 2-minute drills from city council members, how many requests, or I guess it's rather say, how many 2-minute drills do you complete annually using the same baseline of 2024? Do you have that number?
I don't have that number offhand, but again, it's on an as needed basis.
Like they have to request it.
Yeah, they have to request it.
Could we get the number for how many 2-minute drills you did in 2024 and in 2025? I want to use a baseline for 22 news community platforms used to cover event stories, etc., throughout Wilmington. How many of those items did you produce in last year?
I don't have those particular numbers offhand, but we're out there covering about 2 to 3 months or 2 to 3 events a week.
Okay.
And it can even be more. The bulk of the events that we do cover are usually weekend events, but as more events come throughout the week, we do cover those as well.
So we can say, you'll get us a number, but somewhere ranging between 24 and 36 a year.
Or it's probably going to be more.
Sorry, you said a month or a week?
A week.
Oh, so that's upwards to, wow, that's impressive. Okay. So we're looking at upwards to 144 a year.
Right.
How long do those largely range, the 22 news?
They're going to be from 2 to 5 minute packages, and then also again we do have our sights and sound packages that are going to be longer, between 5 to 10 minutes, and then
are the sight and sounds the feeder into the 22 news, or are those two separate programs bifurcated?
They're going to be two separate programs, but it's kind of the same kind of approach. We're like event coverage.
So I think it's going to be safe to assume that for each of these subcategories, I'm going to ask for the 2024 baseline and the 2025 current year-to-date
Yeah.
number. I would appreciate that at the next committee. Essentially, what I would love to try to do is quantify the your impact. In terms of hours spent, how long does it take to produce a? Let's just do the 22 news, because at 12 a month, maybe 144 a year. That's a large number.
Right.
And so, how many hours would a product take to get ready for the 22 news segment?
You're looking between actually being out there for the event and the edit process, and also programming. You're looking anywhere to about 4 to 6 hours.
I'm assuming it depends on the length of the
Yeah,
segment.
I mean, it depends on that, but also it depends on the length of the event.
Got it. Okay. This makes perfect sense. And then just generally, you talk about pursuing grant options. Have we ever, and unfortunately I haven't reviewed, this is a question that's off the cuff to know if this is even allowed. Have we ever reviewed additional revenue, as in paid advertisement, studio rental, etc.?
So as far as advertisement goes, because we are a government entity, we can't do any advertising on our channel. Anything that we do promote is at the community's benefit. Unfortunately, we can't generate advertising numbers.
What about studio rental?
Studio rental? We'll have to talk to legal just to see if that's a possibility.
Got it. Understood. Just a general question. I appreciate it. Thank you. Great job.
All right, thank you. Do any other commissioners have any questions? Does anyone from the public have any questions? All right, thank you again, Wendell.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have an update from the Red Clay Consolidated School District regarding the operations of the Educational Access Channel. Those reps may please introduce yourselves.
Hello. My name is Moises Velasquez. I'm the executive producer here at TV, and right here is my associate.
How you doing? Horace Knight, and I am the communications specialist for the district, which includes TV as well.
So we do have a presentation. I'm not sure if if you guys are able to pull that up or not. I can just talk freely about what we're doing here. So as you guys know, we're at EdTV. We are Red Clay's educational TV network. We operate 24/7, 365 days a year. Our mission really is to fill every one of those hours with educational programming for members of the community, members of our district. And so far, we've been doing, I think, a pretty good job. Currently, we are maximizing resources that we have to ultimately impact as many households as we can. Some of our current programming is SciShow Kids, which is a YouTube creator we have a great relationship with. We take some of their programming and share it on our network simply to fill some of that time. As far as crew goes, it's really just myself and Horace. We have another show called The Book Nook, which is really a reading show. We travel to some of our schools here in the district, and they tell us about a book that they love, whether it's a teacher, a librarian, or a student. We really just want to get reading out there. Again, we also have, we can go to slide 3, please. Next one, please. We also have CNN Student News, which again is one of the relationships we have. We take current standing news and share it on our network. The good stuff is a recap type of show. Things like Tosh pointed out before, kids. We take some of the things that we've had happening in the district and the community and put it together in a show. The Red Clay Cook-Off is our cooking show. We do it here in collaboration with the nutrition department to create healthy and educational content around nutrition. Project Soapbox is another program that we have here within the Red Clay School District, and really it's a program that consists statewide, not nationally, but we focus here at Red Clay, and most of our schools participate in Project Soapbox, which is really an opportunity for students to speak to their peers, speak to adults about topics that are near and close to their heart. As well as the Education Station is the next one, which really is a confessional type of program. We've retrofitted the back of half of the bus into a confessional type booth where students come in, share their voice. We give them a prompt through the television inside. Sort of tells the students this is a place for you to share your voice. We want to hear your student voice. And typically this is available at events or special programs if the kids have sort of done something that's really stands out in the district and really to the school. They reach out to us and we sort of put together a show based on what the students are talking about. We can go to the next slide, please. So again, we've created a diverse group of programming, maintaining quality and relevance. As far as collaboration, we have reached out and are still reaching out to a number of other school districts around the area to offer them a specific time block within our network. All we ask is that it's ready for broadcast. Like I said, unfortunately, it's just for us and myself. So really, we try to leverage relationships as far as we can to make sure that there's something happening in the network consistently. Financially, Red Clay has always been fully self-funded. We are exploring alternative funding sources such as grants. And of course, we're always open to any updates regarding the city for future financial opportunities. But again, we're really just looking to leverage what we have and maximize the diversity of shows that we have on the network. We can go to the next slide, please. So in conjunction with our shows, sometimes during periods of time where students are in school, we have community slides really to notify the community of what's happening. We obviously post our own events that are happening here within Red Clay, but we also reach out to different districts and different community just members that have things going on that fit within the educational space. So this is just an example of some events that we have coming up again within our community slides that play a couple times throughout the day and really at night too, once it's sort of, I think after 10 o'clock. We can go next slide, please. So we are planning to film really a bunch of new episodes for all of our shows over the next few months. Right now, we've been really busy with a sort of soft rebrand of what EdTV is. I came in late last year, and as well as our boss, Alvarado Mobley, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here today. We're focusing on really giving EdTV a new look that is more in line with what we're doing here at the district. Her and myself have really been relatively new to the district. So EdTV, although I have experience in EdTV is something that we really want to make our own. And when I say our own, I mean here at the district, not just what we see actively being great for us. We're also looking for really bringing on the high schools more within what we're doing. Each one of our high schools has a video program to some capacity. So we're really having meetings within the top down to really try to implement student involvement at a higher level, whether that's them creating shows and giving them to us, whether that's myself going to the high schools, talking to them, which we've done a couple times this year, and trying to create shows with them or, teach them how to take some of these skills that I know and that Horace knows into their classroom. So again, we're working on a brand refresh. We wouldn't say it's a rebrand, it's really more of a refresh. And then we're actively looking to involve students. The idea with EdTV was always to have students involved. Sometimes that doesn't work out as well as we'd hoped, but we're certainly working hard to make that happen. And then lastly, most of our, if not all of our shows are available on YouTube, where we promote it, as well as our Red Clay Facebook, Instagram pages. Occasionally we share on X as well. And that is, as far as future, that's us. If you guys have any questions, by all means, we're here to hopefully answer any of those. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from any commissioners? Commissioner Walker.
Thank you for the presentation. I was just curious how many of our young ones are engaging with your program. It sounds wonderful.
So, like I said, all of our high schools do have the some type of capacity of video program within the district. It really comes down to the teachers and how they handle what they're creating. We've had experiences, great experiences, and we've had some that aren't as great with teachers, simply because sometimes things fall outside of their curriculum. However, in the past, we have had a bunch of documentary type of content that we've created in conjunction with schools. In fact, we've actually had partnerships between elementary and high school schools that ultimately partnered with themselves to create programming surrounding whatever event is happening at their school. And we're hoping to do that again more throughout this coming year. The summertime for us is really an opportunity for us to really sit back, reflect, and ultimately plan so that when teachers and really administration is back in the building, we have meetings with them to try to sort of realign our goals for the year. So an answer, it really just varies based on teachers and student availability.
Are you able to give a ballpark of year to date? How many?
As far as students, it's really sort of a hard number for us to say. I would say at least 5 to 10, but it really just depends on, again, we don't unfortunately have direct access to say, hey, we need you to do this. But I can actively say that I've had at least 5 students help on productions this year.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Commissioner Owens, who has joined us. You're welcome. Do we have any other questions from any commissioners? Marshall?
Yes, Chair. Just want to make a comment. So this Office of City Council has established the Office of Educational Advocacy. So we hope that we can partner with you as a arm of with EdTV to talk about education. So I just want to mention that because you might not be aware that the Office of City Council did establish an Office of Educational Advocacy.
Yeah, and we absolutely welcome any collaboration. Again, we're really looking to maximize what we're creating. And really, when we think about that programming that we're creating, we're not just centered towards, I mean, the children are obviously the main focus, but we also think about the family as a whole. So when we try to programming throughout the day, it's really geared around towards who's home during what periods of the day. So we're more than happy to meet with whoever's involved to figure out how we can hopefully, again, keep creating programming that's great for both our students and the families overall.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from anyone in the public? Circle back to the commissioners and seeing none.
Thank you.
All right, thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And next we will have an update presentation from DETV, the third-party operator, TPO for the public access, lease access for programming and operations, including all financial reports, report updates presented by Ivan Thomas, DETV.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing?
All right.
All right. Just wait for our presentation to pop up. All right. Over the past year, DTV has significantly expanded our programming, our lineup, reinforcing our position in Delaware broadcasting and for news and social media on our network. We are bridge builders. Next slide, please. DETV is the way we operate with the city is influential nonprofit media organization based in Wilmington, Delaware, right on Market Street. At its core, DETV is committed to building a strong community and keeping the public informed through high-quality media by promoting diversity, fostering inclusivity, and providing essential support resources. DETV is dedicated in amplifying unrepresented voices. Next slide, please. Again, DETV is committed to delivering vital resources and unwavering support to uplift any and our community here in Delaware. Next slide, please. Next slide. Duplicate. Our mission is to inspire our local community to stay educated and to get involved in local affairs, encourage our residents to make their voices heard and embrace their creativity and impact the region and even national perception of Delaware. Next slide, please. What you're looking at right here is our stats as of lately. The one inside the blue is the number of households per Comcast that we are in statewide, over 338,000. Our YouTube last month hit 89,000 views, a little bit over. All our combined social media, over 92,000 views. Our views on our YouTube page with 8,647 subscribers is now 268,000 views. Our Facebook, 18,000 followers. On the DETV side, on my side, on Ivan Thomas' side, which is one and the same, it's a little over over 14,000 between followers and friends. Our views on that this last month was 79,000, a little bit over 79,000. Our Instagram is growing really, really fast. It's a little bit over 6,000. And with a 98,000 views, and our TikTok, which is moving also fast, is over 132,000 views. All right, next slide, please. And it's just the demographics that the households we're in statewide and our reach again. All right, next slide. All right, this is what's our secret. I shouldn't be telling you our secret sauce because McDonald's don't tell you theirs, but I'm gonna tell you ours. What we did in 2019. 2019 when we got the station, our first contract that we did was with the Delaware Bluecoats. We went to the groundbreaking, and their thing was they wanted to get inside the community a little bit more. So they were our first contract, and what we did was we handled production and signed a deal with the NBA to broadcast their home games statewide on TV. At that time, Governor Carney at the time saw me at one of the games and asked me what I was doing there. I told him what we were doing. The office came back in December and asked us could we shoot a signal to NBC. And of course we said yeah. What we did was we had a program that allowed us to multi-stream up to 30 different social media platforms. And on March 20th, what happened was, at the time, Governor Carney and his entire staff came into DETV studios on Lancaster Avenue, and we were able to get the first COVID messaging when he shut the state down of state of emergency. And the way that it happened was, right there, that program circle, the big program circle, that represents anything that we shoot live in studio, anything that's pre-recorded, anything that you shoot on your cell phone. I can mirror that signal and I can put that out through our distribution model, which is DETV's Facebook page, which has those 18,000 followers, DETV's YouTube page, DETV's website, DETV's social media, and that leaves your social media or whoever we partner with, whatever nonprofit out there, whatever organization, we can hit the drop of a dime, hit one button, and that can go statewide. Our message has been going statewide and on all these social media on networks, keeping the residents of Wilmington and Delaware informed. That's what we've done, and that's what we've been doing. Next slide, please. And I'll tell you on this slide, this is how we do it, and we get our messages inside the community. These programs right here, along probably about another 15 programs that we produce. One is called Good Morning. So let me backtrack. What we're building here is our community media hub, a PBS-style television network and social media network. So in that, these are the shows that are in this hub. We have, in our news side of things, is our news umbrella is Good Morning Delaware, which a lot of people in here and watching has been on, where my co-host is Vincenza Cardieri Russo, and we sit and we have conversations with community leaders, and it's a feel-good. It's more of a Good Morning America, but here for the state of Delaware. We implemented a new part of it called the Delaware Business Buzz, where we're bringing in businesses to, just like Good Morning Wilmington, we can highlight the local business economy. Also in that under that news umbrella is the agenda to the right of that with Kerwin Gaines. What that is a political show, and it is bipartisan, and we bring in everyone. And again, since we're the only station in Delaware, and not to say with the respect of WITN, our brothers here, our brothers and sisters here at WITN, we've created a political show that brings everyone inside to talk about everything from Dover to Rehoboth. The next one we have to the far right is our DETV news station, and that is hosted by, our anchor on that is Matt Ford, our weather girl is Shakira Denise, and our hyper-local sports analyst is Nick Alessandrini. So we have a news show, a dedicated news show for the state of Delaware. We also have under our sports umbrella the Delaware Blue Coats basketball games that play, the DETV sports show that play live on Monday nights. Now, Good Morning Wilmington is a live show as well, and DETV News is recorded to tape, but we go back in and play that an hour later after we complete the edits. All right, we also have in our network, so our network is DETV Kids, and at the bottom right you can see, and if you can hit on it, control room, I believe that it will pop up if that's the link. If not, it's okay. We built our kids show. We did this in, yep, there you go. Thank you.
Here on DETV. Kids!
We built this during COVID, and what this is, it's our version of PBS Kids for Delaware children.
Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Susan.
That's our retired child psychologist, Dr. Susan, who deals with the social emotional part. You can fast forward a little bit more.
Things being different from before.
You could keep going a little bit further.
And maybe you miss eating dinner together.
There you go, right there. We partner with DIAE for movement. So a lot of the shows that we create, we partner with local nonprofits and organizations. And can you rewind just a little bit, maybe like 2 minutes in? Right, yeah. A little bit more. A little bit more. Right there. Thank you. This is the Finneys, lyrical math. And this is something, again, local, all local talent, teaching kids math through hip hop. All right, thank you so much. Can you go right back to the main screen? All right, at the top, what we're really happy about, at the bottom, Money Matters. Money Matters is our financial literacy show that we created, and you can hit on that for me. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Money Matters. I'm your financial empowerment coach, Danae.
Teach everything from saving to credit to even it dips over to our home show, our home affordable housing network, how to buy homes and construction, our DIY show that we're building. All right, thank you so much, control room. And what I'm gonna let you explain. Can you, at the top, we built a network called Every Woman. And in our Every Woman network, I'll let April talk about that because I am not a woman and I had to back away. I just had the idea.
Yeah, so our Every Woman network, this particular network covers everything for all of our women. This particular show here is called Her Perspective. This particular show is a multimedia platform dedicated to women's issues, featuring in-depth discussions, panel conversations, and special initiatives that support women's empowerment. So the panel is kind of like The View, if you will, but it's not the same audience or the same couch members every time. Depending on the topic, we go out and we seek a matter expert, if you will, that will come out, and then we'll have other 3 panelists that'll sit on the couch with her, and we talk about everything. And I'm sorry to say it this way, everything from menopause to daycare to, finances, relationships, everything. And it is an empowering show. We do this show live every other Thursday. We shoot this episode, and it is amazing. It is morphed into something way bigger than we ever thought that it would be, and we're super proud of this. We're putting a lot of energy, thought processes into where this show is going to go. It's catapulting into something amazing, and we're looking for relationships in the community. We're looking for, women advocacies in the community to help us build this brand for every woman, so that way it becomes a resource-driven material program, and we can actually close the gap and on some of the initiatives that we have going on, and actually just help women navigate to different stages in life all at the same time, with actually just building women relationships. And so we're super proud of this show, and it's building really quickly. So
Yeah, and the idea again is it's what we understand is the science of optics. The optics is there's always, like she said, there's always a different panel, but we're also talking about that with the live studio audience. We had a show last night. It was surviving your 20s. A younger audience came in, and it was a beautiful show. And then it's also all with networking. What we also do with this show is we dig into things like, again, health. So we partnered with the Delaware Health Equity Coalition, and they came in and they had a show about mental health, and they had one with the last one was breast cancer. And that's the idea, to use the platform that we've created to partner with other organizations that can't or have a problem getting messaging out, to come on or to have commercials or infomercials, or just get a gathering of people together so information can be distributed through our network.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes, just real quick, is there a cost associated with the nonprofits who want to come out and get their message through this?
No. No, a lot of the stuff we've been doing out of pocket, right? And we understand a lot of nonprofits don't have the money. What we've done for the last 6 years was to focus on building the quality of the product. And now that's why we're switching over to that model that I said last time we were here, because now that we have this, we have the cooking shows, we have the news shows, we have live events like the Urban League had their annual meeting. We were able to go out, pull our cameras out, stream it, shoot the signal back to the station, and then shoot that back out through our distribution model. So every show on here goes through our distribution model. And what we've been doing now is lately is, so if you see Dr. Shonda, paging Dr. Shonda, she is a clinical psychologist, and her thing is mental health. Her show is on Revolt and Fox Soul. She shoots at our studio as well. So that goes into the Every Woman Network and goes into our DETV Health and Wellness Network. And so we're getting a lot of celebrities that are coming on the network. Like we're about to bring over, about to sign a deal with the rapper Freeway. And as you know, Freeway is a transplant recipient. And again, his thing will go into the health network. And again, is using people with star power to talk to the community about the importance of money, health, wellness, and jobs. What we're also working on right now, and we shot our first episode about 2 weeks ago, we're focusing on, again, Delaware small businesses. We've partnered with the Delaware Small Business Chamber to, one, allow them to get more, allow their members, their 200 members, to get more visibility. Thank you. So if you can imagine like a local mom and pop shop that's downtown Wilmington that can have their pizza store, a commercial inside Good Morning Wilmington or inside the agenda, what that can do for the economy. That's what we're working with on that side for the business. For the nonprofit side, what we're doing as well is called the DETV Nonprofit Collab. And what that collab is, again, being in this nonprofit space, I've seen in the last 7 years the problem, and one of the problems is, again, visibility and reach. Nonprofits are great at what they do, but so they're not focusing on what we focus on at DETV. And one thing what we're doing with the nonprofits, that we have a lot already signed up to help them with their reach, and we can all co-write the grant or whatever together to help them get their message out within the programming that we have built. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, next slide.
Before we go to the next slide, you did ask about the nonprofits. So we do seek out sponsorships for those shows. So that way there is a sponsor that can actually come in and help cover the cost of the programming.
All right, next slide. Next slide. Yep, and this is what we're doing. We're building a PBS-style station for Delaware, connecting communities and empowering change. And also, with that being said, I want to say that we are definitely going below the canal and focus more on that. One of the things that that I want to make sure that we mention is it's great to have these long format shows. What we do is we use science, we use AI to take this one show that's like an hour long, right? So let's take Good Morning Wilmington, for instance. Good Morning Wilmington's an hour long. It has 3 segments, which is 3 interviews inside of Good Morning Delaware. We use AI to cut the segments up, and we give that segment back to the person that was being interviewed. They'll share that within their network. We also use AI to cut out the 1-minute pieces for social media. What that allows us to do is to not just share it, but we boost it and we put it. We actually drive it to the audience that we believe that AI says is going to watch it. That's why our numbers stay high. So, okay, next slide. We're community folk. I had to take that from Yvette. We were talking the other day, and she said it, and I just loved it. Next slide, please. Next slide. Cultural relevance. Programs are designed to for the voices, to reflect the voices and stories of the Black and brown communities. Building trust, years of meaningful engagement with underrepresented groups in Delaware, equity-driven focus, and economic opportunities are all wrapped in what we do. Next slide, please. And that's it for that.
All right, thank you.
You're
yes.
welcome. Yep, we also want to provide an equipment status update.
I think he was going to answer questions.
Oh, did you want to ask questions?
No,
about
you
the
can
slide?
continue.
Yeah?
Yes, go ahead,
Okay.
please.
So our equipment status update, as it reflects the equipment that is provided by the City of Wilmington. Right now, systems overalls, they're running fine. There's no new updates on the lighting board right now. But the Teleview Hypercaster, the system is running without issue. The unit has been in service for some time and is looking at its life and expectancy, and we should prioritize that really soon. Right now, not so much, but we should talk about it later. The TriCaster 460, the storage hard drive was filled in 2023 and replaced by the DETV engineering team. Currently, the unit is being fitted for a new PCU due to a power surge that rendered the original PCU inoperable. The studio cameras, I'm not going to read the numbers for the cameras, but the cameras are running fine. The cabling was replaced due to the move to 1105 Market Street. The audio board, the loaned Allen & Health, there's a service number here. The 32-channel mixer has been running fine. This is not the City of Wilmington's property. This was bought by DETV to enhance the audio quality of the productions. The audio snakes. Snakes were replaced with the new units once the gear was installed at 1105 Market. The microphones. New wired microphones was bought by the city in 2024 and are working properly. The ETC lighting board hard drive failed in this cause, currently controlling lights manually, and we replaced in August of 2024. And let's see a big 5 NAS. The NAS drive is not working. It was replaced in October of 2024. That is the update for the equipment provided by the city.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from any commissioners? Commissioner Walker.
Sorry, I just feel like I always have questions.
I like your questions.
Just one general question. According to the Public Access and Lease Access Management Agreement, if you're looking at Section 1, subsection 5, it talks about public access, the ability for any Wilmington resident or person affiliated with a Wilmington institution to use the designated facilities, equipment, and channels subject to the conditions and procedures established for such use. There's also a requirement to provide the leased access and public access use policies and procedures. I was just curious if those have been provided. And
Yeah.
if not, can I get a copy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, thanks, because I'm new to this, so I would love to review it. Hold on one moment. They gave me a huge binder, so
And I forgot to mention, and while you're looking that up, Commissioner, and for Good Morning Delaware, we also have another show that airs live right after that. It's called Buenos Dias Delaware. It's for our Latino brothers and sisters, and we're working on a show called Bonjour Delaware for the Haitian community downstate as well. I forgot to mention that.
I appreciate that. Quickly, I wanted to go back early in the presentation. There was a 53,000 number thrown out, and it was so quick I couldn't capture what it measured. What exactly did that 53,000 number measure specifically to Wilmington?
That's the number that I got from Comcast last week about the number of homes that in Wilmington that are in right there, right? That Comcast are in those homes in Wilmington. Subscribed homes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you.
Question with that. Is that just
That goes down towards
cable, or is it Wi-Fi as well too?
This is just cable. And the way when they told me was this number is not just like the city here, but it's also like down in Newark. It's considered what is it? Something Wilmington is like a prefix before of it.
If you have a Wilmington address,
Is the zip codes, not just the 19801.
It's zip code based.
Zip code base, yeah.
So it would move up to Greenville, sorry.
Yes,
It would move
yeah.
up to Greenville, up on 202.
Yeah,
Based off.
yeah, because there's some people in Newark that gets it, and it's still based on that.
okay.
Any other follow-up, Commissioner Walker?
Not about the general update. I have follow-ups about old business on the agenda next.
Okay. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Simmons?
Yeah, I have 3 quick questions. My first question is, in terms of the distribution process, are you guys using the platform Restream to stream? Okay.
Yeah.
My next question is, in terms of expanding your viewership, do you have any plans in terms of how you want to expand more viewers, get more viewers through your social media platforms, YouTube and things like that? Do you guys have any?
2025, right now we're working on an app to create a whole app. We're working on Pluto TV and other app based for television to do as well.
Got you. And then my last one is, I see on here, you guys have plans for a dedicated space for the women's programming, Every Woman headquarters. Could you go into some more detail in terms of
So with that, since it's growing so fast and so.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you scared me. Okay, yeah. Since it's going so fast and so good, that's going to have to be its own organization. So it's going to branch off soon, and that's what we put that in there for. That is going to have its own location, because one thing that when April and I was talking about it early in the stages is not just creating something that's for entertainment, but creating something that's resource based. We had a show one time that really opened my eyes to what we did, and it was a show on consent and rape, right? And we were during that show, and after that show, it was like this. It's so many, as a man, I never realized what women go through. And when we built that show, and the women came out and had the courage enough to say, hey, this has happened to me, and these are women that we know that walk amongst us here in Delaware, April was like, we have to do something a little bit more than just show this. So that's what it is, and it's going to have to be its own nonprofit. It might have to be its own nonprofit, but eventually we're going to get a space that deals with that.
Would you plan on having that be streamed via the Comcast cable? Just because I know that in terms of
Depends.
the cable line, it would.
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. We're still in the early stages, but it's something that we're definitely looking to expand.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Cabrera, followed by
Yes,
Commissioner
I
Walker.
just wanted to comment again, Ivan, on the excellent work and the programming, very professional. When I'm watching, I feel like I'm watching like the Philadelphia network, so not surprised that they asked for our tapings of the, the sports programming. So just keep up with the good work, and that women's show, well done.
Thank you.
And that's good that you're giving women a voice to speak on those issues and others. So thank you again for the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. It's coming in Spanish too, just to let you know.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I'll definitely be on and supportive.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker, did you have follow-up?
I did. I remembered a few things about the equipment status update, and I just want to make sure I'm checking my own understanding. The Telview Hypercaster, you said is looking at the end of life expectancy and should be a priority. What is the life expectancy, and how close are we to that?
So I would have to refer to our IT.
Our engineer.
Yeah, our engineer for that. I don't want to speak prematurely on that, but he did give me an update when they came out and did the inspection for us, and I included that inspection in the documents that I gave you guys. But he is letting us know that we do need to prioritize it. He couldn't give me a shelf life on it because I was concerned too, because from my understanding, that is what pushes out everything on 28, and without it, it would go black. So,
the TriCaster 460, you said currently the unit is being fitted for a new PSU due to the power surge that rendered the original PSU inoperable. Who's covering the cost of that?
What happened was, I believe the city sent the power, and we're getting it put in. We haven't put it in yet, but
perfect. Yeah. Audio Snakes. It said there was new gear once it was installed in 1105 Market. I'm assuming that cost has already been covered by the city.
Yeah.
The ETC lighting board that you stated had a failure and was replaced in August of 2024. That's been built to the city.
Yeah.
And the LaCie Big Five, did I say that right?
LaCie, yeah.
LaCie Big Five, okay. Which was inoperable, replaced in October 24. I'm assuming that was already built to the city.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the public? Swing back to any questions from any commissioners. All right, thank you again. Next, we will move on to old business. Going to ask for John Stant to please come forward.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to speak on the TPO one-year agreement. As discussed at the last commission meeting, there was a vote to recommend extending the one-year agreement, signing a one-year agreement with DETV, and possibly giving them some time to move from the third floor of 1105 down to the first floor. So a draft agreement has been created. I shared it with Marshall. Asked me to send it to her. I sent that along to her, and as required by the city's lease with BPG, we did send them notice that we were not going to execute a new lease with them, and that we asked if we could have until April 30th. We would pay them 1 month to ensure that we could remove the equipment. In the intervening time frame, Chris Buccini of BPG contacted the city and said, hey, we don't want you to leave. Can we work something out? So I got an email this morning, I know several others did as well, that Chris has offered to subsidize 25% of the rent for the third floor of 1105 North Market and provide some sort of relief on parking. I know among many things, the parking was one of DETV's concerns moving from Lancaster to DETV. So that has come up since the last meeting. I feel bad, that I'm going last and I'm bringing this up, but I wanted to bring it to the commission's attention that BPG is interested in working something out, if possible, and it's my job as your lawyer to let you know of this interest.
Okay, thank you.
As for the second part of the agenda, the Telview, I think that's going to get that's beyond me. I know there were discussions at the last commission meeting, but my role was to just talk about drafting the contract and then the news from BPG. So,
Commissioner Cabrera.
Yes, do we have a roundabout number as to what that subsidized total is?
so I can guess that the rent is right now about $10,000 for this past year was about $10,000 a month. So it would be roughly, it depends on, I don't know what the increase would be. We could say if it were $10,000 a month that he would subsidize $2,500. So the CVT funds would pay $7,500. I know there are, rent increases each year. I'm just giving you a guess.
Thank you.
Commissioner Owens, followed by Commissioner Walker.
Just a point of clarity. I thought for the third floor at this location, it's $8,500.
Was it you? Did I misspeak?
The Lancaster one was $10,000, if I remember correctly.
Well, if we're talking ballpark numbers, I'm sorry, Chair, can I speak?
Yes.
Yes, so the actual total cost, just for the lease is $8,500 a month, which equates to $102,000 so a year. So if we assume that it's not going to change, the amount that the city will be obligated for would be $76,500. So 25% would equate to roughly $25,500. Realizing that doesn't factor into like utilities. So if we round that up from $8,500 a month to roughly $10,000, then the number that John said is within the range.
And forgive me, the usual joke that lawyers aren't good at math seems to hold here. I got my mixed up my 102 and 120.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Walker.
I had the same clarifying question as Commissioner Owens, and did some math and can attest to the numbers presented by Ms. Bassnight. I'm generally curious. Did the current landlord of the property say they were interested in the city being the leasee, or were they interested in keeping the unit occupied?
You can almost say that's a distinction without a difference, but my understanding is that it would be the current structure, so that the city would be the lessee, and then we would sublease the property to DETV like we have done in prior years.
Okay.
Any other questions from any commissioners?
I just generally,
Commissioner Walker.
Since we're talking
Yes.
about, sorry.
No, Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, Chair. Since we're talking about this, I would be interested, we're about 2, maybe 3 weeks out from our last meeting for a general update on how the move is going in and of itself, if that's appropriate, Chair.
Michelle.
Yeah, if I could, before turn it over to Elijah to talk about the move update. I just wanted to clarify too, the email from Buccini, it could be taken like either way, because it just mentions that he has agreed to subsidize the 25% of the rent and provide some relief on parking. It could be taken that, assuming that the city signs, the lease, or it could be taken that the TPO signs the lease. I don't know.
Just generally that someone will pay the remaining 75%.
Got it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Elijah, Commissioner.
Yeah, so I went over to the third floor facility 2 weeks ago now, and we did a review of all of the equipment owned by the city. It was a decent amount of equipment, definitely a lot of things there, as well as stuff owned by DETV. After I ended up leaving, kind of came to the conclusion, spoke with a few folks, and we thought about potentially extending for another month, as John Stanton mentioned, to April 30th instead of making them move out on the 31st. In terms of overall equipment owned by the city, Wendell's here now. He's going to speak to sort of what that's looking like, timeline of them getting the stuff out owned by the city.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ralston.
And I apologize, while I was coming over here, I don't know what's been said. But right now we have, council staff has looked into, what the moving cost would be for the, to move the TPO out of the, third floor of 1105. Do I share that number?
Yes.
I want to say it's around 7,400. And then I've been in communication with Comcast as far as moving the line to the first floor of 1105. That cost is going to be in the range of $2,000 to $3,000, and the time frame would be, you're looking at, if we were to move ahead with that today, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks for that move. As far as timeline for moving the stuff, if we get a confirmation, we're at that 2 week mark with the moving company.
Any follow-up, Commissioner Simmons?
No.
Okay, thank you, Wendell. Commissioner Walker.
You said 2 to 3 weeks to move the Comcast line.
Yes.
From the third floor to the first floor, meaning that line would be inoperable.
No.
Or no?
No. The downtime would be, you're looking to about at the most 4 hours. That line would be down, and channel 28 would be down during that time.
About 4 hours.
Yeah.
So the 2 to 3 weeks is the amount of time.
Yeah.
Before they
that's
come in to
that's
do
the coordination
act.
time needed.
Got it.
The
Okay.
actual work is going to take half a day, if that.
Understood. All right.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from any commissioners? Any questions from anyone in the public? Commissioner Walker. You're fine, go ahead.
Just a general, see if I can get an update from DETV from their vantage point as well about the move, and where things are falling on their end.
Look, if we have to move, we have to move. Where we are right now, man, is insane. I'm gonna keep it there. We have to move. But what I'm trying to understand is, I received the same email. Did any of the commissioners receive the email? I received the same email from Chris Buccini, and it states, thank you everyone for scheduling a call on such short notice. I spoke with Ivan in April from DETV, CC'd above, and I have agreed to subsidize 25% of the rent and provide some relief on parking. I want you to know that prior to your noon, whatever, but this is the part. As I mentioned yesterday, we spend a considerable amount of money, over $70,000, with the move to the IMPay building last year. While it was only a 1-year lease, I was told it would be a minimum 3-year lease. I am hoping that my offer to provide economic assistance allows a win-win for the city, DETV, and BPG. I just wanted to make sure that was that, because we always told something different in this, and we're the ones suffering.
Was that 70,000 from BPG?
That's from BPG because they had to put heat in the floor because we had no heat.
Commissioner Owens.
Just a point of clarity. In that email, it stated that there was a call had about this prior to that. Who was?
I know nothing about that.
Okay.
Marshall.
Yeah, Commissioner Owens, so there was a call because Buccini, Chris Buccini did reach out, and it was provided clarity to him as well, is that when the city initially did the RFP, that the RFP did have a 3-year, that 3 years was mentioned in the RFP, as it was the intent for it to be a 3-year agreement with 2 1-year renewals, also with the expectation of a 25% payment by the TPO. And that's what the CBT commissioners had proved on from the last session from last year. We did get to a finance committee meeting, and the ordinance or the contract was halted because the TPO said that they wanted to go back to their board because they were not aware of the 25%. So that was in November. The 108th session of council was was coming close to an end. So come January, there's a new council, there's a new CBT commissioners. So, so this was looked at from a different perspective. The 3-year RFP or agreement that was put out there was not what this commission had proposed. So I just wanted to share that for the record, and I just wanted to share that for clarity. And that was also mentioned to Mr. Buccini as well. We don't want anyone to think, you know, that we were trying to like intentionally change something from 3 years to 1 year, realizing, you know, yes, they did put some money into that place, but also that 3rd floor location, was recommended to us. So I just want to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker.
Yeah, I appreciate the background because one of the questions I recently had as I was sitting here was how did we move from an RFP, which I know has some a length of time appropriate attached to it, to a 1-year agreement. And so is it safe to say that the 1-year agreement is a happy medium in order to keep the channel operating in lieu of the RFP? And when do we expect to have to go back out to RFP for some consistency in operations?
Chair, can I respond?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Walker, the next step was after we do this 1-year agreement, then the next step was to put another RFP out there because, you know, we don't want to continue to have a 1-year agreement with our TPO. We want to, you know, have commitment more than 1 year. So that will be the next plan with the CBT commissioners, is to talk about the multi-year RFP.
And may I add that
Yes, John.
Sorry, I think the RFP that went out last year, there was a 1-year agreement for ending March of 2025 because we didn't want to have an RFP out while we were negotiating with Comcast. So once it looked like the negotiations with Comcast were coming to a positive end, then we submitted our RFP, which would have kicked in April 1st of this year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from any commissioners? From any Commissioner Owens?
Yeah, just real quick. So, since we have to take this back out to RFP, does that mean there's a potential that we're going to have to go back out and find a let's say we change TPOs, are we gonna have to go out and find a new location for the channel to be hosted at?
Marshall?
Yeah.
Yes. Then-
Well, if I can, I mean, it'd be based upon what we put in the RFP, meaning what our expectations are. So does that mean like it, you know, that the city will have sign off like on any lease agreements? Where will we have that TPO? Will we have to move the cable fee line if it is a different TPO? All the information will be factored in in the RFP, and whoever, you know, submits something for it, I mean that would be up to them. But we haven't gotten to that point to say like what's going to be in the RFP.
Thank you, Commissioner Walker.
I think it would be safe to say, however, that there aren't a lot of organizations operating with a standing studio space, and so anyone theoretically who would respond to an RFP, there would either be a need to have space or locate space, and thus if we do transition to a new TPO, understanding this theory of the lack of studio space in Wilmington, I think it would be safe to say that this commission would assume some out-of-pocket expense for that. I just want to throw that out there because I'm not sure if it's a means to an end or if it's kicking a fiscal problem down the road.
Thank you, Marshall.
Yes, just a good point, Commissioner Walker. I mean, not only that, we have talked about donating some of the equipment to our TPO, but also the bigger picture here as well is financial stability of the CVT fund as far as the solvency. So that all would have to be factored in. If we're having challenges now, you know, or will we have challenges later on down the road to afford a separate studio space, as well as to go and bring on new equipment. So all of that is something, you know, that we, you know, will have to be talked about, but also in conjunction with the solvency of the CVT fund.
Ivan?
Just a question for clarification for me. As I was going through the 2019 and 2019 contract, I saw that there is Comcast gives the city of Wilmington $60,000 for the lease of the building. Is that correct, or is it more? Is it 60? Is it more money that's dedicated to the lease for the TPO? That's what I saw in 2019. There's a dedicated amount of money that Comcast gave in 2019 and beyond the city of Wilmington for the station, for the location of the station.
Chair,
yes,
you want me to respond while John is looking up? So, John, as part of the latest Comcast franchise agreement that was executed in October, it mentions about $90,000 in community support grant funds based upon 95 cents per subscriber. That gets us to a minimum of $90,000 per year, which is where the $450,000 figure comes from over 5 years. So that was the figure that we was going to utilize if we were to cover any TPO costs. So I just want to mention that compared to the contract that was previously done.
Thank you.
Just a
Commissioner
clarifying
Simmons.
question for Marcel. So that $90,000, that in the Comcast contract, it wasn't specified specifically for the TPO. It's just that the city decided to designate it for the TPO.
Yes, and that's correct. And that's what we was going to do if we need to.
Can we have a copy of that?
Thank you.
Can we have a copy of that?
I was going to ask the same thing.
Yeah, because I need to see everything now.
I would like a copy of that so we
The
can see
contract?
how it, so we can see how it reads and who's interpreting the language.
Because the thing is going to happen, long term, if we move, the city is not going to have a station if there's a next TPO.
That would be their problem.
That's their problem. Yeah, I get it.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Simmons?
One thing that I will say, and I did have talked with Marshall extensively about potentially getting updated subscriber numbers for the number of subscribers of Comcast cable networks in the city. I think that is also going to be another discussion conversation that us as commissioners are going to need to have, is the cost-benefit analysis of the amount of subscribers and if what our decisions are that we're making is worth it in the event that the cable Comcast subscriber number is drastically low to a point where it might not be worth doing some of the things that we're doing. So Marshall, I'm not sure if we have a specific timeline or anything like that in terms of getting those numbers from Comcast.
Chair, did you want me to respond?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes, so we should be getting those numbers before the end of this month. The end of March is typically when we receive them.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Bracy?
I'll reserve my comment, Mr. Chair. I'm gonna lower my hand for now.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anyone else from the public? Michelle?
Yeah, and we'll provide this ordinance to DTV, to our TPO, which is also, a public document, which, the public could also have. But within the franchise agreement that we just extended out with Comcast, it does mention that Comcast shall provide on a quarterly basis with the first payment to accompany the first franchise payment of 2025, a PEG support grant and an equivalent to 95 cents per subscriber. The number of subscribers shall be established in the first month of every quarter. It is further guaranteed that the annual PEG support grant shall never be less than $90,000, and Comcast may adjust its collections from customers as needed to meet the minimum amount of funding. So I just wanted to mention that so that our commissioners are aware, and for the commissioners, if you have your binders, that agreement is in tab number 5 of your binders.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone in the public? Commissioners, Commissioner Owens.
Yes. So just going back to this, the actual location right now, the $8,500 a month, was that a negotiated price, or was that the, for lack of another term, sticker price?
I can't answer that because my only job was to draft the agreement. If there were negotiations, I wasn't part of it. But I believe it was a discounted rate.
Michelle?
Yes, Chair. It was at a discounted rate. I don't recall what the original amount of it is, but it was at a discount.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioners? Anyone else from the public? All right, Commissioner Williams.
Is there any consideration going to be given to the subsidies provided by Buccini? And also, is the TPO responsible for 25%? Because if that's the case, the city would be responsible for 50% if we're getting 25% subsidized from Buccini, and the TPO is responsible for 25%. Would that work for the city?
I think that's an answer that the commissioners will have to come up with, upon further discussion. Commissioner Owens.
Yeah. So again, I know we're about to have to go back out for proposal soon, RFP. If we do not have a studio, what would be the startup cost to the city if we had to go out, get new equipment, get new studio? How much could that potentially cost us?
Michelle?
And Commissioner Owens, we would have to get back to you on that because that would be the kind of information that will be part of an RFP. But once again, that all depends upon, the CBT Commission as well as the solvency of the CBT fund.
Commissioner Walker.
I just want to ask a question, point and plain. We're discussing the use of the third floor of the building for the benefit of the TPO, which happens to be DETV currently. Just point blank, period, full stop. Can you operate in the space you have now, or is the third floor space a necessity for you to carry out your operations effectively?
Yes.
Yes.
Follow-up question, Mr. Chair, if I can.
Yes.
With that yes in mind, because I think it's the first time we've heard that yes. With that yes in mind, can I get an understanding of what currently happens on the third floor?
When we were over on Lancaster Avenue had, when you have a studio, you have not just, and I think some people think, just when you say studio, you just think a place of production.
Mm-hmm.
Lancaster Avenue had a place of production. And it also had administrative place where people can work and edit to keep the production moving.
Administrative meaning offices?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what we did upstairs to the third floor is we made it hybrid, that we can shoot up there as well as administrative. My editors can edit to keep everything online, to keep everything on TV, to train the kids when they came in. We had some students from Philadelphia wanted to know. We trained them upstairs. It is. You need both.
And is that because the current first floor space does not have this administrative suite you are talking about?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else to add?
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons.
Just a question for DTV. What is the likelihood that the people using this administrative space could be remote and work virtual? Like, what kind of would there be any negative impact towards that them working virtually?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you can go first, but I'm going to say yes, it will, because for one, our equipment, right? And I want to say, like, even with the bandwidth for the internet, so we have the editing, we have high-speed internet upstairs, and we have our equipment that our editors work from. I'm not comfortable, well, we wouldn't be comfortable, sending our hardware to a person's home. I don't believe that we have the capacity to do that.
And when you're looking at data, right? We have everything in one spot. So what used to happen on Lancaster, what was so sweet, was all the editors can edit and it'll go to one specific drive. That wiring isn't there, so we have to now get that wiring there. I am not a fan of editors working from home. It just doesn't work like that. You need both to make production. Administrative space and a studio.
Some of the things could be done from home, like just in real time, but to provide that on-site support and guidance that you would need to give to your team, we would not have the capacity to do that if they were all remoting from home.
Quick follow-up question for
yes,
Mr. For Wendell. Wendell, currently with WITN, what is your guys' remote and in-person structure look like in terms of the editing process and things like that? Just so, because I kind of want to compare it from a production standpoint, because I realize that you guys do some very similar things as to what DETV does.
No,
could you attest to some of that potentially?
So, I'm just going to speak for WITN. We run on a hybrid schedule, but it's a flexible hybrid schedule, depending on the needs of production. Because for production, you got to physically be there, but for editing, we can send our staff to edit at home. We have those capabilities. But I mean, I can only speak for our structure.
I understand.
All right, thank you. Ivan?
And so, and this is, I mean, WITN they do a heck of a job. We do, the amount of content that we're putting out, a lot of it is real-time content. It's downstairs shoot, hey, let's get upstairs, let's get it edited, let's get it out before 5 o'clock is under deadline. So things are totally different within our worlds. Some may be similar, but some definitely are different. And especially the amount of content that we're putting out, it's totally different. So even like in this move right now, like in the move, we have a production studio, but we still got to figure out where the team going to work to get it done, to get the beginning part, the pre-production part done, and then the post, and then the delivery. It's a lot. It's a lot to it now, like with this.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Walker.
I also want to be clear, I am not supportive of, to Commissioner Williams' question, I'm not supportive of the city being the leaseholder and subleasing to DETV. But what I am supportive of is ensuring helping to ensure within our locus of control the ability to produce the product and programs that come as a requirement of our TPO agreement. And so I think we have to consider an alternative structure here in which the city can back out of being the leaseholder. I wholeheartedly support that. But think about how we can support the TPO, any TPO, in carrying out their duties, which they ascribe to and attest to, and we mandate in our contract through the Comcast agreement and with our third-party agreement that is voted on and approved. And so I think to go back to Commissioner Williams' question, I don't think we necessarily need to give weight to what the current landlord is saying. I think that's a conversation for the TPO, but I think it's a broader conversation for DETV in its totality, because as you attest to, the administrative work is happening both for the TPO, which you have an agreement for, and for the other parts of DETV's operations, because administrative locations are just essential functions to a studio production. Now, with that said, I'm supportive of a general subsidy to help cover their work, but I think that's where this commission should be going to, not so much a conversation of whether we hold a lease or not.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say for clarity that it is not just an administrative space upstairs. All of lease access's programming that's done live is done upstairs on the third floor. That is a separation of equipment.
100%.
Okay.
Agreed 100. I was only focused on the administrative side of
I appreciate
the conversation.
Commissioner Bracy, then followed by Ivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So a few meetings ago, when we were discussing various scenarios to how we mitigate some of the issues that we're having with the lack of, the decrease in funding available, we came up with one scenario where we, to Commissioner Walker's point, we suggested maybe a small stipend to our TPO holder for operations, revisiting a model that we used before DETV was the TPO. And I am definitely not in support of the city going into another lease and paying rent and utilities. But I could entertain that conversation around us doing, a yearly stipend. Last meeting, we agreed to cover, I think, what, 25,000 in moving costs. What if that 25,000 just became a yearly stipend, and then DETV can run their business, and, generate revenue to cover all of their other operating expenses. As was stated, that space on the third floor, which I also visited, is a great space. It is an operations and administrative space with studio capabilities, but it's also used not just for TPO's work, but for the work of the channel. And it's an essential space, so I'd hate to see them lose it, but I also realize that the city cannot afford to continue the way we're going, but we should do something to support them. So I also am supportive of maybe revisiting some of the conversations that we've had about, possibly giving them some type of, while they're under contract, a yearly amount that the commissioners would have to decide on, to help them with TPO operations. Thank you.
Thank you. Ivan or April?
Just to be clear, because what we didn't know before is what we know now, and I just want to be clear, because when that came on the table about you giving us $25,000 a month, for the year or whatever, just to be clear, does Comcast give the city of Wilmington $90,000 for operations for the TPO? For PEG, is it PEG or TPO? I just want, because they're in the old contract, it said it gave $60,000 to the city for the lease for the TPO.
So,
John, yes.
So the prior the prior franchise agreement with Comcast did provide on pages 14 and 15 that Comcast will provide capital support in the amount of a monthly lease payment not to exceed $60,000 annually. That's section 8E as in Edward. Because of the city's ongoing decrease in subscribers, that section was removed from the franchise extension. So exhibit or tab 5 in your binder, page 6, little e says sections 8, A, B, C, and E of the existing franchise entitled Local Live Lease Access Public Access is modified as follows. Section small number 2, sections 8B and 8E are removed or deleted in their entirety. So the $90,000 comes from the 95 cents per subscriber, but it does not mean it has to be explicitly used for lease space.
All right, thank you. April?
But it does have to be used for PEG.
Yes, annual PEG support grant shall never be less than $90,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And the TPO is under the PEG, correct?
For the commission's standpoint, that's tab 5, page 3, B2.
So my question was, the TPO is associated with the PEG, yes?
Yes, Michelle.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, just to clarify, we have always talked about the $450,000 where you can get up to where the city can get a minimum of $90,000 per year, based upon also 95 cents per subscribers. So it was always like the intent for that to be, if needed, to be used, for the TPO, although it, based upon what the CBT Commission has decided. But also, I just wanted to mention for the commissioners is that we did receive the draft of the proposed fiscal year 2026 operating budget, and within that, within the budget ordinance, it does make a drawdown of $257,600 out of our KTV fund balance, just so that we can be able to cover our G services. So I just want to to mention that we are, going into our savings again, which we have done so for, I want to say, going on 3 years now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, April.
Yeah, so, thank you. So, just for clarity, the $90,000 that is given from Comcast doesn't cover the G expenses. It is strictly for PEG services. Am I understanding that correctly?
Chair, can I respond?
Yes, Marshall.
Yes. So P stands for public education as well as government, and it's up to this commission, like how we decide to allocate those funds.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from any commissioners? Commissioner Owens.
Yeah. So I still having a bit of hard time right now. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what goes on with our current TPO, we're going to have a new TPO or a renewal of a TPO in about a year. And I know it was said that in the RFP, the price of how much a studio would cost, all that will be included. But I'm not understanding. So wouldn't that just mean we would have to put a lump sum of money back out after just a year or two? And if we're doing, I agree with Commissioner Bracy, if we're already putting $20,000 up, let's go back to the Bacini Pollen and them, who has benefited immensely from growth here in the city of Wilmington, who have profited quite nicely here in the city of Wilmington, and negotiate with them to see if they could take on 50% of that, right? Reduce it to 50%, and then have whatever our TPO is, take on 25% of that, and then we set the, if I did my math right, it would be about 25,000 and some change that could come out of that 90,000. So we would be saving immensely and only have to pay, we would only be paying a little bit from our side. The rest would be covered by either Bacini Pollen or our TPO, who goes into that studio space.
Michelle?
Chair, so whatever that needs to be decided, because this commission had made a decision, so something will need to be decided before March the 31st, because that's when the agreement expires. So the commission will have to convene. Again, we have to schedule another meeting to be able to affirm, if someone wants to do something differently. But before I speak on that, I'm also going to defer to John.
Essentially, historically, the commission recommends something.
Right.
They don't have the authority under the code to bind anyone to anything. As far as I can recall, what the commission recommends, so a contract will follow. The only authority that the CVT commission really has is over the franchise itself, not necessarily the TPO. Under the franchise agreement, the city, not the CVT commission, the city and Comcast in this case under the franchise will help select the third party operator. So
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from Commissioner Walker?
Can I ask a clarifying question of Commissioner Owens?
Yes.
Sure.
My bad.
We're good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are you suggesting that the city maintains the primary responsibility of leasing the additional location, and whatever the TPO is would be what the city would maintain leasing it, but would only be responsible for 50% of the rental cost?
We would be responsible for 25% of the rental cost.
25%.
So 25 on the TPO, 25 on us, 50% on Bacini Pollen.
But we will still be the primary leasing.
correct, like it was on Lancaster through, I believe, 3 different TPOs?
Would we still be responsible for covering utilities?
No.
If I may interject,
Well,
those are all just these
yeah.
are all negotiable
Yeah.
terms.
Well, I was just trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
I was trying to figure out what his
number I was coming up with.
intent was with his conversation. All right.
All right, thank you. April?
Actually, no, I'm going to lower my hand.
Fine,
Thank
okay.
you.
Any other commissioner?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point for the room. In the event that we need to find a new TPO and go out for another RFP, the commission has the option to, select what that TPO is, as well as choose a TPO that has a studio space, has all of the bells and whistles, or not have a studio, or not sign for a TPO at all. In the event, again, like I keep saying, that when we get the Comcast cable subscriber number, if it's so low to a point where there's no cost benefit analysis, and we don't think that it's potentially worth it to have a TPO. So I just wanted to put that point out there for the room.
Commissioner Owens, followed by Ivan.
Yes. So again, I'm new to this commission, but I've been paying attention for a few years. Can I just be reminded, though, point of clarity, how many people submitted for the last RFP?
Chair, just one.
And how many submitted for the one before that?
I want to say 2 or 3.
It was, I believe it was 2,
Okay.
DTV and LAPA. Again, oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if we don't set ourselves up for success, we're setting ourselves up for failure, right? So again, if we don't even have a studio that a potential TPO can come into, then we are less likely to get any additional applications to be able to debate whether or not we are going to have a TPO or not. And I again, I'm just saying, $25,000. If we're putting that up already right now, because I think it was said earlier that we're going to do an extension of a month, that would actually be $28,000, $28,500. It would be cheaper than the route that we're going now. That's just my thinking with my math, and again, I'm from Northside, but that's my math right now. Right? Am I wrong?
Thank you. Just for FOIA purposes, are we still safe? I know this discussion has been kind of in depth. I just don't want us to violate any FOIA.
Because we're going past 2 o'clock, we may go past 2 o'clock.
No, just the information that we're talking about,
Yeah,
just the subject matter.
this isn't-
We're okay.
There's no legal advice given. This is all
Okay.
just kind of open discussion. It's okay.
All right. Thank you. Yes, Ivan.
Elijah, when you're Commissioner Elijah, when you're saying the benefit of, please think of if it's even 500 people in Wilmington are watching the channel, it's worth it, right? Because we're saving lives. The information that goes out is to save lives and to help people and to get them inspired to do something. So it's always a benefit. With the disadvantage and the non-benefit is when you cut communication from any group of people. And what we've done at DETV is to create a lane for communication that involves and includes everyone so they can pick, so people can see. So I just wanted for the commission, just please, whatever settlement is settlement, it's cool, we understand, but please just keep in mind, it's the benefit and the residents of Wilmington, Delaware that are getting, advice from Dr. Teal, Dr. Scantleberry, Dr. Joan Coker, and in times of and especially right now. You know what I mean? So please, just to the commission, please keep that in mind.
Thank you for that.
Can I also ask?
Yes, I'm going to. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask Vice Chair Bracy to assume the chair position from this point on. I do have to leave. I apologize.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Walker.
Just one clarification. How many staff do you have at DETV currently?
11.
11. So that's 11 people. What's your average salary for your staff?
So typically, our administrators, well, we all are underpaid. Let me just say that.
I am
Because
too, but it's
And so we have 11 staff, but we also have additional 10 freelancers. 10
So 11 staff, 10 freelancers.
Yes.
Average wage. I have a point here. Just average wage, please.
Yeah, so if we're looking at administrative staff, again, keeping note that we did not come in with what we wanted to get, we're averaging about, say, maybe 50, right? But our editors and so they're averaging probably about 35.
All right, so we have roughly 20 individuals contributing to city wage tax all day because they're working here in our city.
Yes, they are.
Forcing them to work from home, we cannot control where they work or where they go. So hybrid actually can also disproportionately impact our city revenue stream. So that is not an option for me. Generally, I have a question of Mr. Stant, Madam Vice Chair.
Floor is yours.
Mr. Stant, since we're discussing old business upon clarification update regarding TPO 1-year agreement, are we able to amend this 1-year agreement here with a motion and not violate FOIA?
Amend the agreement?
Amend our recommendation.
Sure. Yeah, if this is all part of the discussion to discuss the 1-year agreement, yes, it can be, a recommendation can be amended. Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, I'd like to make a motion to amend the previous recommendation to include a standing contribution to the TPO for $25,000 annually.
Point of clarification, Mr. Walker?
Sure.
Oh, wait. Has there been a second?
Well,
Oh, yeah, I have a point of... Okay.
Yeah.
So, point of clarification, we're amending the recommendation that was made at the previous meeting, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So, we're striking are we keeping the piece of the recommendation that we will not re-enter into a lease agreement? And I just want to make sure it's very clear for the record that we're not entering into a lease agreement, but we are going to give them a yearly amount. Is that what you're...
That is my recommendation, yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. On the question, any comments from our commissioners?
I just want to add, since I made the motion, I agree wholeheartedly with Commissioner Owens in the fact that we are already willing to expend upwards to $28,500 to our TPO. What we know and we hear from the landlord is a willingness to negotiate the rental price to continue allowing this entity that has numbers and a reach upwards to 300,000 homes across our state. I think it's a little short-sighted just to be focused on the viewership here in Wilmington, where their work is a promotional enterprise that is garnering support for Wilmington across our jurisdiction. We cannot even begin to measure the economic impact that is brought in by tourism because of the work and promotion that DETV is doing. I also want to point out that it is vital to ensure the same level of service, that there are spaces for administrative actions to occur, and they are necessary. And so my point in making this motion is to ensure that the city has some skin in the game for this organization that has proven vital and has helped us come through the COVID-19 pandemic, has helped us push information from the Hurricane Ida floods, has been here side by side with us. That is my purpose for making this motion. We cannot leave our Wilmingtonians and our visitors out to dry with a lack of information.
Any other comments from any other commissioners?
Yes, I have my hand up. I do agree 100% with Commissioner Walker. You know, it just gives me uneasiness that if we don't have the support there for a vital communication service that's able to do a lot more than even what we're able to do with our own WATN station, that we really need to look at other resources to keep this going aside from what we can do. But the city definitely cannot turn its back on the TPO. So if this is one way to garnish some additional help, then I'm definitely in support of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Cabrera. Any other comments from commissioners? I like to say that I too, as we've mentioned, I'm glad we revisited this suggestion. I think this helps the city. Where the DETV can negotiate the lease agreement with Buccini Poland, but the city still has some skin in the game, and we are providing support to our TPO through this yearly amount. So I also I'm glad that we're able to kind of get this decision made finally, so that we can support the good work of DETV, as well as being fiscally responsible city commissioners. All in favor of, oh wait, are there any comments from the public before we take the vote? I'm sorry, I can't see the control room.
Yes,
All right.
Sorry, I was just saying there's no one in the public.
Okay, thank you. I just lost visual. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion as it stands, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If I'm not mistaken, that means the motion carried. Thank you. Is there any other business that we need to attend to, Marshall, today?
No, that's the last item.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.